British COVIDians, it's time to begin. It's time to begin with something that becomes really serious. British COVIDians, it's not just a matter of masking up and covering ourselves from the virus. No mask under this. It's a matter of understanding that there are people in this world. There are people in other states. There are people in the state of Palestine who are rapidly going to become annexed to the state of Israel. They're going to annex them. Do you understand what annexing means? Perhaps Israel has some idea of annexing, because when Hitler annexed Poland and moved in and annexed other states, then began the Holocaust. Yeah? I've unfriended somebody today on Facebook because they didn't like a meme I shared about this man. Yeah? Well, I unfriended you for it. I look back at the history of that friendship. Yeah? It's been going on for, we've been Facebook friends for, since 2016. Yeah. But because I shared a meme of this guy's links to Israel, this guy's desire to turn anti-Zionism into antisemitism, this guy's desire to support a state of it, the state of Israel, in fact, that is quite often condemned by the United Nations, that uses brutality and force against Palestinian civilians, that sprays their homes, their streets, their buildings with sewage, that runs over their citizens with bulldozers and drags their bodies away. Yeah? That, that a state of Palestine that is rapidly becoming annexed to the state of Israel, which was set up 1948 by the Balfour Declaration, whereby the British, under various lords and ladies and whatever, virtually gave the state of Palestine to the Israelis. I don't support that. I support the Palestinian people. And if people like him consider my support and speaking out for the Palestinian people as anti-Semitic, then tell me to my face, okay? And frankly, I'll have a damn good go at you. Yeah? So I begin there today. Yeah? Palestine is on the verge of being annexed out of existence. Stand up for our brothers and sisters. I watched a play last night called Le Blancs from the National Theatre. It means the whites in French. Yeah? And it was about the history of British colonisation, imperialism, yeah, and subjecting people to the jackboot of empire, like the British and the French and the Dutch and whatever, in the colonies that we have. It talked about the British rape of Africa's natural resources, the diamonds that are probably already in the crown jewels, in the crown that Her Majesty wears on her head. Blood diamonds, mined from a country, the natural resources of that country that was never Britain's, belonged to its people, yeah? And behind that, yeah, always money, yeah? always money. Money from all kinds of sources, but usually money from the Rothschild banks. And if you happen to think that is anti-Israel, yeah, well, I'm sorry for you. If you happen to want to call me an antisemite because of that, then go ahead and call it to me to my face, and I'll take you on, okay? So, don't forget, though, in the meantime, prepare for Super Saturday. Super Saturday, we need you out there visiting the pubs, giving false names and addresses. If you happen to be in Leicestershire, or in Leicester rather, travel to Nottingham, get your Cummings defence ready, get ready to give false details of addresses in Nottingham, yeah, and go there, yeah. We need Super Saturday. We need we need the gutters running with good British vomit, even though some pubs are closing early, so get a lot of drinking done in a very short time. Yep. We need the gutters to run with vomit and British blood. Yep. That vomit and blood will help to spread the virus, and it's going to keep A&E really busy. Do what you do best. Brits, do what you do best. Do what you did best in the days of empire. Do what you did best when you occupied countries. Do what you did best when you occupied and your descendants were in South Africa and Rhodesia. Do what you did best. Go out and indulge in some violence, like you did against the natives, the actual original inhabitants of these countries. Go out and get violence. Get the boot in. Let's show them that Britons are strong, yeah, that we can rule the world, and that we're white, and because we're white, we're strong, and you are lesser races. Le Blancs, the whites, of course, even the French colonialist believes, superior races, yeah? When you go out and celebrate Super Saturday, remember that image, yeah? Remember those 4 letters tattooed on a fist and your favourite flag behind, yeah? Because that's what we do really well, isn't it? Even in COVID, we do it really well. That's our absolute super thing. And this man, of course, is still telling us, and parents, you're going to be fined. You're going to be taken to court if you don't send your kids back to school. But this man, with a big smile on his face and his eyes all screwed up like, yeah, is saying we owe it to children to open schools. We owe it to children to open schools. Yeah, I've almost got the sort of Churchill chops at the moment. Too much fat. Yeah. Yet the Conservatives closed youth centres, cut mental health services, underfunded secondary schools, stripped free school meals, and tripled tuition fees. Yeah? So there you go. But we owe it to children to open schools, says Boris. He must be right, yeah. And, of course, as this man rightly reminds us from LBC, he does remind us, James O'Brien reminds us, that the government has now shifted blame for second wave, first wave, everything firmly onto the public. Yep. And when you all go out and get blitzed on Super Saturday and spread the virus nationally when the whole of Leicester leaves to drink in Nottingham, yeah, well done. Yep, that's exactly what the government are going to do. Nothing to do with them. No, never his fault. Never their fault. Yep. Old people dying in care homes, returned with the virus to care homes. Not their fault. Not their fault. You did this. Yep. And they need you back at work. And think of the poor sods that are going to be working in these places. Yeah. Just think of them for a second. People behind the bar, probably being abused, spat at, yeah? People trying to get people out of the pubs who are absolutely off their titties, yeah? Trying to get them out, yeah? And these people having to deal with all that abuse and everything, probably being physically attacked, yeah? And the police resources being called to various incidents outside the pub, yeah? Outside many pubs. What? So that these two, bloody separated at birth, yeah, can tell you, cheer up, don't worry, have a pint of British ale. You'll be fine, just don't forget to be responsible, yeah? Doesn't matter about coronavirus. We don't care, plebs, we don't care. We need to gather the money to make our company, the Red Shield banks, the finance behind bloody everything. We need the money to make them richer. And you know what? We are so brutal in the middle of a pandemic, yeah? We're going to return to benefit sanctions. There you go, benefit sanctions in the middle of a pandemic. It doesn't really matter what's wrong with you. I'm sorry, yeah? I'm sorry. You're already sick anyway. I'm sorry. You're going to have to end up on the street. Sorry. You didn't do such and such. You didn't pay. You didn't look for work, yeah? Oh, and while all this is going on, this UK award COVID-19 testing contracts worth £5 billion to private bidders. Oh, yeah, like awarding a contract for ferries to a company with no ferries. Yeah, isn't that good? I mean, and it's all going to work out because private industry makes it all work out, doesn't it? That's good, isn't it? That's really good. It's a really good spend of your taxpayers' money. And in America, well, going back to where I started about Black Lives Matter and things like that, there you go, all these guys and what they actually did. Yep. And, oh yeah, sorry, I really should be saying all lives matter, shouldn't I? Because if I'm saying only Black Lives Matter, well, you know, that's wrong. All lives matter. I shouldn't discriminate. In fact, by saying Black Lives Matter, I'm discriminating, aren't I? This guy would say I was discriminating, wouldn't he? After his trip down the spoons and a nice time, just forgetting it all. Yeah. Oh, and don't forget, never take the knee. And dear old Sir Keir, where I began on all this, dear old Sir Keir, he wouldn't take the knee. Well, except maybe to currency. I think he'd take the knee to currency. Doesn't have to be the shekel as currency. In fact, it could be any kind of currency. He'd take the knee to the euro as currency. He'd take the knee to the mighty dollar as currency. He'd take the knee to wherever there's currency and profit and wealth and getting incredibly rich at the expense of everyone else. Keir will take the knee, like most of his kind take the knee, to the mighty dollar. Yeah, the mighty dollar overall. That's who Keir would take the knee to. He'd take it to the mighty dollar. I'm sorry to lose friends over this, but in the issue of Palestine, in the issue of these great people, in the issue of these great people who are being bombed into submission, their kids being maimed, blown to smithereens, attacked with phosphorus munitions that disfigure them, burn through their flesh, yeah? The Israelis are an occupying army. An army of occupation in exactly the same way as the Nazis in Warsaw when they brought about and managed the Warsaw Ghetto. The Israelis are occupying Palestine. Get those scum out. Right, now there's a very good chance that having said that, this video will probably be taken down, but I intend to wait and see. I think it's perfectly okay to support the people of Palestine. I think it's okay to call out their war crimes. the Israeli war crimes against the people of Palestine. Bye.